Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the MFL Ramble, the Metaverse Football League. Remember, this is completely financial advice, definitely trusted sources. Look at these people. We're not degenerates in any way at all. Financial advice is 100% true that we'll be giving, although I don't always follow it myself. But as you can see, I'm joined, as always, by my glorious blue-eyed Braveheart himself, and that is Hoodwink. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thanks.
Nice. Looking forward to Christmas. Only just over a week away. Frightening. I haven't bought any presents yet, but
Same. The missus is upstairs just now wrapping all the presents for Mark and pretty much everyone else. Then here I am.
I think it's different when you've got young kids, isn't it? But that's like the fun of Christmas. As they get older, it's like, open a few presents and they disappear to their bedroom to like play on whatever you've bought them and stuff, and you don't see them again, which is good in some ways. But
and the cardboard boxes rather than the toys.
Well, exactly. Have you bought? Because I know he likes calculators, doesn't he? Have you got me a new calculator?
No, he's got enough. No, I found like old iPhones. I was cleaning out my wardrobe the other day and I found old iPhones and stuff. They've got calculators and timers. They can play with them.
He's got enough. You old iPhones hanging around. You don't trade them in. You stick them in a cupboard like that.
No, like I'm talking like iPhone 4 or something like that. Like old school.
Retro. Well, he'll feel like he's a 2004 man or something or like that, whatever, 20 years old. I don't even know what version they're on these days. But anyway, as you can see, we're joined by, for the first time ever on the MFL Ramble, I believe, Andrew M. Laird. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for the slight delay in your regular start time to accommodate me. Speaking of kids, I had to get my youngest off to school, which is why we couldn't start it at one sharp. But yeah, thanks for having me. And Hoodwink, that the Christmas, your wife wrapping the presents reminded me this meme that I saw the other day where it was like some guy's like really surprised face, and it was like dads on Christmas when they find out what their kids are getting for Christmas. And
that'll be it.
Yeah, that's I don't want to say that I'm completely in that, but there are a couple times where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that we bought that, didn't we?
Have you got 2 or 3, haven't you? I know you've got Larry.
3, yeah. 3, 14, 13, and 7.
Okay, so it's still a bit of like a mystery with the 7-year-old. Is she completely like, is it ruined now? Like Santa doesn't exist, or do you still leave?
No, Santa very much is real, and I will die on that hill for as long as I possibly can. My my oldest finally, like, he's known for a while, but he finally this year was like, I know, and we're like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to continue to play dumb as long as we can and just keep the ruse going.
I think when I was that age, I remember thinking that I know Santa doesn't exist, but I don't want to admit I know that because then the presents might go away. So you sort of reached that point. So he's probably like nearly through that point now.
I think that's what it was. And I remember it must have been 4 years ago or so. We got him an Xbox, and it almost like continued the belief for a while, because he's like, there's no way my parents would have bought me an Xbox, but Santa knows I really wanted one. So, and here it is. And so that got us at least another year of the magic.
And that's great as well, because that's a toy for you as well. So
it's certainly helpful. Yeah.
Dad, let me have a go. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to be fun anyway. And today we've got 2 streams. We've got this stream, the regular stream. And this evening, I'll be joined by Kev Hurd. I believe he's going to be in a hotel. So fingers crossed, hoping, praying for the Wi-Fi. We're going to be joined by some of the Diamond managers, including Brian, a.k.a. Okay, yeah, sure, who I recognize the name even before, as soon as I saw it on MFL, I recognize the name. And I don't know whether he used to play DFS. Like, I don't know. He's just one of those names where I just recognize. I'm sure I've seen it on leaderboards somewhere else in my lifetime. I don't know where, but I'll be asking him tonight anyway. But he seems like a top guy. And Sid's going to be joining us as well. And maybe Bob. I believe Bob has now got a meeting, but I know for 100% certainty he would rather be talking about MFL. So if he can ditch that meeting early, then I'm sure he will. But if not, and obviously he is still leading Diamond. Had a big win yesterday again, and just keeping our fingers crossed that he can hold on and not go hit variant, smack him in the arse like it did at the end of last season. But yeah, so we've got a couple of streams today. Other stream, it has been announced. We're doing a community stream on Sunday at 8 o'clock, is it, Hoodwink?
I think so.
Yeah. So
Sounds
Sunday evening for people in this time zone, anyway, in the UK time zone or Europe, and afternoon for people in America. It's going to be chaotic, and I do not envy Jimbo one little bit trying to organize, because people want to do stuff on the stream. We've got loads of ideas of things we want to do, but trying to do that with 8 people on the stream at the same time, it's going to be fun anyway. I think by the end of it, Jimbo is going to have grey hair and look rather bedraggled, but good luck, Jimbo, anyway. But before we move on, we've got a few people in the chat. Got Kev Hurd. I'll see you later. You'll be catching you later, and I definitely will be seeing you later. Got Jimbo. Afternoon, gents. Andrew Q. Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, good morning to you as well, sir. Afternoon from Big Mr. K. And Jimbo, no hair. Does that mean, have you had a haircut now? Are you just going to pull it all out trying to do it? Have you, Jimbo, have you tried and done a test run yet? Because I know that Bruce was talking about wanting to do a tactics corner where we all play matches against each other, and I just, in my mind, it's a great idea. I just cannot see how it's going to work. But anyway, yeah, silly question. Yeah, no, I thought so. You're a little bit more in my field of like leave everything and YOLO it. But let's hope anyway. But so it should be fun anyway. But so we are into the final stretch of season 10. Of course, as soon as the season's over, then we'll be moving on to the Masters, Holiday Heroes. What is it? I call it the Masters, but it's obviously on there as the Holiday Heroes as well, isn't it, on the site? But have you guys been trying to qualify? I did, as I was having a little peruse through your agency, Andrew, I did see that you were running a few Masters qualifiers. You won the first 2 and then got knocked out with one of the teams. How's Masters qualifying been going for you?
Absolutely dreadful. And part of it is because I don't set. So one of the times to register is essentially overnight for me. I think it's midnight or 1 a.m. And as much as I love MFL, I love my sleep a little more. And so I don't wake up in the middle of the night to register. But I have 2, as weird as it sounds, I have 2 Spark teams that got through. And they're not like overwhelmingly good Spark teams, but my Ice and Stone teams just, it feels like they have no chance. I win maybe 1 game and then I lose the second. And I do have, you're going to hear my phone go off in, if we're still on, 1 hour and 3 minutes, because there's the next registration window opens. And so I keep trying. But it's big time struggle bus for me. But if I end up having to just go into the classic, like that's fine. More MFL, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like I qualified, Monkey Magic qualified, I think in like the second qualifier they did, but I just don't see how they do particularly well in the tournament. And I sort of, I don't regret entering it, but I wish that, maybe I'd sort of held back and waited a little while longer. But yeah, let's talk about our season so far then. Hoodwink, give us a brief update on how everything's going, and perhaps try and avoid Daegu, because I believe they had a match last night, didn't they?
Had a fantastic match. I'll go into them second then. But my main team, Edinburgh, after last week saying they were my success story, I don't think I've won a game since then. I think I've lost 2 and drawn 2 in my last 4 league games, so that's not going so well now. We're still 6th, which would be great. Like that'd be kind of where I was aiming anyway. But we're only 2 points above the relegation spots, but only 4 points away from the promotion spot. So it's quite a tight league. It's a tough league though, and
it's tight, isn't it? 10 points from top to 9th.
Aye. So hopefully I've got enough to avoid. Like the main thing is staying in that league. I think I didn't expect to win it. I was hoping maybe I'll get promoted, but the main thing is just being in there next season. Make sure I get like a decent chunky MFL. And if I go up, I'm not strong enough to go up, although I really enjoy the challenge. But the main thing, try and improve that. 7 games left. and we're no far away from the promotion spots. So it's going all right, but the last week's been tough, so I might need to have a wee tactics tweak and try and work out what the problem's been. Daegu had a wonderful win against Monkey Thunder last night. 1-0 win, clean sheet, nice wee victory. Puts me up to 5th. So again, there, it's a tight league as well. I'm only 2 points above you, although I've got a game in hand. 2 points above you in 9th, and then 5 points behind 3rd place. I don't know. If I got them promoted, I don't think I will get promoted, but if I got them promoted, I don't think I'm prepared for that next season either. So again, really, that's probably finish as high as I can and just make sure I'm there. Because I've got a few retirements coming up, and I'll be quite a few of my good players will be gone. So in terms of like strength and depth, they'd probably struggle going anywhere above iron.
I think with especially when you've got more teams in your agency, I think you just need to sort of like you will inevitably have some teams where survival in their league and they sort of reach a thing and you're just happy to keep them at that. And I think for Monkey Thunder, I just wanted to keep them in iron, and I imagine for Daegu, you'd probably like to challenge, but you realise if they do go up that you've got absolutely no hope without getting loads of loans in anyway.
That's the thing. Like Edinburgh is my main team, and I want them to do as well as possible. And if it does mean I got them promoted previously, and I just finished bottom of the league next season, but I've had fun. With Daegu, we've just been promoted for the first time ever to this league, so I'm not expecting it to be like 2 promotions or anything like that. And as you say, you need to be realistic with your agency and just make sure you're still having fun and not just getting pumped every week. That's probably the main thing for me. Livingston are going really well. Although we did lose our first game in the league yesterday and also got pumped at the cup. So no, yesterday, sorry. No, that wasn't them. Sorry, we got pumped at the cup yesterday on penalties, sadly. But top of the league, only lost 1 game. Quite a nice goal difference, 28 goals. So they're going really well. I do want to get them
on Livingston.
I want to get them promoted because that penalty shootout that I'm going to moan about every single week. That penalty shootout last season is just going to play on my mind until we get promoted with them. And I think I'd have enough strength and depth to have them in stone. I've got enough players that I'll loan out every season, so that'd be ideal for them. My other ice team is struggling a wee bit. My new one, that's Santiago. They are down to 9th, but again, we're 6 points for 3rd. So again, another pretty tight league. This is a classic Hoodwink team, actually. This is like Daegu. 15 games played, won 5, drawn 5, lost 5. Like that's just a standard kind of Daegu performance. So they've taken over from my Jinx team.
You've got
but again, I just want them
in that team as well.
I know some of my really good youngsters as well. So the main thing for them was really progression and just consolidating my position there. I didn't want to get relegated with them because they're one of the too good to go down type teams, I'd hope. So just mainly I don't think I'll get relegated because it's actually a nice team. I might actually test out a wee. I done the 3-4-3 that they were doing on the YT and XP tactics corner. I was like, I'll get a wee try. Absolutely loved it and I used it with them and I won like most of my games against like better teams. So I might actually get a wee bash, just even 2 or 3 games over the rest of the season and just actually surprise people with my tactics for a change.
You can't get any worse than losing, can you? So you may as well.
Exactly. It's not a surprise now, but the mother team, Atlanta, they are top of the league. It was them that lost yesterday. Undefeated all season, had conceded 4 goals all season, and then I got beat 4-0 last night for the team in 2nd. So ideally, I'll just keep. So I like scored 75 goals. Like it's a really stupid Spark team, to be honest. Like, so they need to get promoted to. I think I've got like a striker that's like 73 or 74 rated. Who's I don't know, scored about 30 goals or something. So they really should go up. They've scored 75, conceded 8. We're on 40 points. Like, if I didn't get promoted with them, then I am getting sacked.
All
And
those
then the last team,
ratings have led to some decent sort of like stat increases on the players as well.
aye. I think is Rubio there, or is he it?
You've got a few players that are averaging over 8 in that team.
Like, it's no wonder though. It's really stupid, but I'd rather use them than loan them out. But some of the strikers, oh, it's my striker of the day that got another. I think he's had 2. I think he's had a +2 this season. Big Oyewole. He's class. My final team is the Rio Ramble, who are it's a trial team, and I can't actually buy them. I was planning on buying them and using it as a Ramble team, but I've already bought a trial team, so I'm going through buying this one. But they're actually on a good wee run. The main thing for them is really progression, because you're getting no MFL. It's like you can only use 30%, so it's literally like going to be a couple of MFL people that I've loaned in, but I've gave it to the community, so everyone's got the same share. So they're on 30 points, only 1 point away for second. Pointless trying to get promoted and ruining someone else's fun, but so with them, just try and keep progressing. It's a under 23 team, so it's like guys for the Ramble community, just using under 23 players between, I think it was between 54 and 60 rated mainly. I tried to keep it to try and get a couple of tier breaks, and then a couple of the higher ones to get a wee bit of progression. So, but either been quite fun using it, because I've never really done anything like that. No, not a challenge, but like a theme for a team. I've never done that, so it's been quite fun.
I love the excuse of not wanting to take somebody else's fun to stop yourself from getting promoted.
That's the excuse.
Yeah.
Away as well. So like, aye.
That's what I say all the time. Yeah, that's why I don't battle for promotion. It's too much fun for others. So I'd like to let them have it.
I feel like this season, Andrew, that you have, like, in the past, it was more about sort of balancing sort of progression and sort of finding that sort of even sort of, platform for progression and hopefully doing well in the league as well. But it feels like there was a sort of a turn in sort of the streams and stuff like that you've been putting out, where promotion was something you really sort of actively hungered in some of the teams as well. Is that something that's sort of carried across into the season as well?
I guess so. Yeah, I think honestly the experience with Patron Saints is the reason that happened, because all of a sudden it was like, oh, getting promoted is pretty cool. Like, it is fun, and being able to like compete at a higher level. And obviously usually one player on that team is mine. But yeah, my Empire FC team, which is that's my main team. That was my first one. And that one got promoted. Once that got promoted from Spark to Ice, it was like, once you get a taste, you want more of it. And I finally was kind of like looking at the market over the last off season, and it just felt like players were too cheap. And I had never really bought players on the market, but I knew kind of what they used to go for. And then looking at my own agency, and it was like, how much would it cost me to get get a Stone team or another Ice team or whatever it was. And the more I looked at it, and then all of a sudden Empire FC got promoted to Stone, which I wasn't expecting at all. And I will say that Empire Paulista team, which is the team I have in Iron, that I meant to buy a Stone team, and I wanted to have another Stone, or I wanted to have a Stone team. And so I bought an Iron team, and I was like, I'll just get it relegated. And I felt really bad because Kev is leading that league. And Kev's going to just run away with it and absolutely slaughtered me. And as you can see, that like this team's not good enough for Iron. But that was the plan. And it's not fun to just go out and get battered every day. And I beat the team below me in the table, or maybe two. Like I got like 2 wins, and all of a sudden I was like, maybe I can stay up. And then I think I've lost like 7 in a row. I was like, all right, I don't think I can stay. Oh yeah, Josh XLs is in this league. Yeah. And I will say that the fun thing that I hadn't really experienced in MFL before this season, for the most part, was competing against people I knew, because I joined in Spark and then got promoted to Ice. But ultimately, maybe I knew 1 or 2 people there, but all of the people who like do content, like they're higher up the pyramid, and maybe they have a team in Spark or Ice somewhere, but there's so many leagues that the odds that we land in one are pretty low. And so when I got into this one, and it was like, oh, I don't have the players to stay in this league. And now Kev is on his way to getting promoted, so he'll be out. It looks like Josh is probably going to get out too. And so it's like, now I'll go down to Stone. They'll go up to Bronze. Maybe hopefully we see each other at some point, based on my promotions, not them getting relegated. But it is fun to, like, I think I underestimated that part of MFL, and you guys talk about it all the time, whether, if you're in a league with Hoodwink or you're in one with Jimbo or whoever. And I'm just like, oh yeah, like whatever. And then all of a sudden you get in a league with somebody, with a couple people that and it's really fun. I think I played Big Mr. K in the Cup with my Empire FC team. He absolutely blasted me, which wasn't surprising at all. But yeah, the big change for me this season was just kind of like adding players and a club or two to my agency. And I think I'm going to keep doing it. And it's just fun to be able to, like I said, to see these other people that I, watch and listen to, and can actually compete against them now. And it just reaffirms my belief that I'm just not nearly good enough at this game compared to them. And so hopefully I can learn some more from them and be more realistically competitive.
I occasionally drop into the Laird Discord and have a look at sort of the MFL channel, and it looks like you've got quite a few sort of able-bodied co-coaches or that help you with tactics and stuff like that. So, I think sometimes I know that you're on team no testing, although, maybe with the new engine coming up, you'll just play a few, just see how it goes. But yeah,
I did test a little bit before this season, and it was obviously like the engine didn't change. So I was more just testing will tactics from last season work, or really what it was this Paulista team of what is the best way to get something out of these guys. And ultimately, when you have one of the lowest rated teams in the league, it doesn't matter what what your tactics are, because they're just, it's just, like I said, every thought on this one was, I'm going to finish last, and so I'll just get the Iron MFL, and then I'll reasonably compete in Stone. And God bless anybody who can do this regularly, because I don't find it fun in the least, of just getting pumped every other game, or the random games where maybe I'm, it's 0-0 after 80 minutes, and I'm like, maybe we can get a point, and then I lose 3-0, and it's just like, ultimately the quality gap is too big, and I think I'll have more fun next year and next season in Stone, where I was supposed to be, basically, and the fun will come back.
Did you buy this team then thinking they were going to get relegated, and they didn't end up getting relegated? Was that the situation?
No, so this was an Iron team that stayed. I think they stayed in Iron last year. I bought them when I saw that they were staying, and I just had the expectation of, I'm not going to buy enough good players to keep it in Iron. And I ended up, some of the players that I bought for this team, I ended up putting down into my Empire FC Stone team, because I wanted that one to be more competitive. And so the whole plan was one season in Iron, and then we really compete in Stone. And I guess it's going to plan, but it's just not a fun plan.
Yeah, it's not fun. I was having a look at your agency earlier, and I thought, okay, he's got quite a few rares now coming through. He's got some sort of decent players, some especially nice and young ones, sort of uncommons that could go through. And I was sort of scrolling down. So, he's got quite a few players now, yeah. And then I got to loads of players that are just free agents.
I literally can't give them away. 0% in Flint, and I just like can't. I'm at the point.
Don't you want to stick them in the dev jail though? Like,
I'm not one. I mean, they're like, yeah, that guy's actually has been through the dev center already. He got up to 41 after 4 seasons in the dev center. So I was just like, I didn't need another 4 years there. I just, the way that I play MFL, like, I don't have an endless budget. And if I'm going to buy a $50 Flint club, I'd rather buy a $60 Stone club and work from there. And so, yeah, these guys, most of them are on the older side, and like I said, they were 0% Flint auto accept, 0 appearances, and nobody wants them. And if anybody wants to buy a Flint club, you can have all of these guys today.
Yeah, I guess at least some of them have been in dev jail there. I just thought they were like players that you'd bought or players you'd packed or whatever, and like you just never did anything with them at all. But
I think almost all of them have been on a team at some point, but I did go on like a buying spree this past off season, and I bought more quality for presumably stone, maybe the top of ice, but then with 3 spark clubs, the guys who were on those teams then get pushed down. And so my spark teams, at least that Empire Rhine and Nordic Empire, are more competitive than they've been in previous seasons. And so then the lower teams get better. And then I ran out of clubs. And like I said, I just didn't have a huge interest in competing for ice.
so what about the next team then? So we've got the Patron Saints, the community team. They got promoted last season, and we've been in the same league now for 2 seasons.
Yes.
I don't think either of us were predicted like to finish high up in this league, were we? Maybe like high mid-table.
I don't remember. I apologize. I'm going to cut myself off here because my nose has literally started bleeding, which has never happened on stream before. So I'll be back.
Yeah,
you guys.
No worries. You sort that out. But yeah, obviously Monkey Kings and Patron Saints were both in Stone together last season. I went through as champions eventually, or that was really close last year. And Andrew finished second in the league. Then like this season, I think I was predicted like somewhere around here. And I think Andrew maybe even slightly above me or roughly in the same area anyway. And I really don't know how, like I've had a bit of progression on this team, I believe. Let's have a look. I'm trying to go from the wrong thing, but let's have a look. Monkey Kings. Is this the team where I've had a bit of progression? But it's not a particularly strong iron side. Like, yeah, I've had a little, maybe not as much as I thought, but yeah, things have just been going well this season with that team. And I believe I play, where are we? I play Andrew in a couple of days, is it? Oh yeah, no, I've got a couple of easy games and then I go through to play the second place team, which is owned by Dazza, who's in our Discord as well. And there's someone else in here as well, isn't there? Maybe not. I'm getting confused over all these leagues. But yeah.
I will say, sorry, I turned my camera off, but I'm going to keep talking. We play in the cup tomorrow, I believe. Not this team though, but you and I are in the cup. I wish I hadn't said that because I was like, maybe he'll forget and take it easy on me.
I was going to speak about that. In my cup, I got 8 out of 9 teams out of the groups. Most of them is, and like first round, the last 16, I lost the top 4 teams, just completely wiped out. Then I got the bottom teams through, the ones I really didn't care about getting through. And then I got 2 teams through yesterday. I know one of the teams, I believe, plays Big Mr. K. Keto Forest, which I believe is Big Mr. K. So I'm assuming it's the Matadors then, is it?
Yeah, it is the Matadors, yeah.
Empire, okay. Yeah.
But feel free to take it easy on me there.
Well, I'll be running my best team, but it's not a particularly good team. But, oh, that's fun. I didn't realise that because I think I must have whizzed through that one because I was getting so depressed with the cup defeats as they were just sort of rolling through. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. No. I expected to, I think this game, the previous game for the Matadors, I expected to lose. That's fun. So I've got you and I've got Big Mr. K. I better not be talking tactics then. But yeah, that should be fun. So like when you're cleaning up your bloody nose, Patron Saints, do you think there's any, like, I mean, it's relatively like the top 2, myself and Dazza's Linköping are sort of fighting it out for the title. Do you think there's any chance you could get them up to the last playoff spot? I mean, it's only 1 point difference, isn't it? It's really close.
Yeah, it is a pretty competitive league. And I think I almost don't even want to say this out loud, but I'm not sure we have enough players for a bronze team. So like it's one of those that in terms of getting promoted, it'd almost be like detrimental.
Yeah, just looking at the
Ramble.
team, like when you get to bronze, that's where like you tend to like most of the teams, like most of the decent teams, have a few legendaries.
Right.
Start to creep in there. Unless it's an overpowered team in the lower league, that's the first one where you start to see sort of a decent amount of them, and some of the teams will just have all legendaries. So yeah, it is quite tough. Let's have a look. Have you had much progression on this team this season? Oh, you've had some decent progression. Got a few guys that are doing well. So irritating when a guy that's retiring, this Arabas guy,
Yep.
like gets like decent progression +3 this season. It just feels like a slap in the face.
Exactly how I feel.
Yeah. But the guy I loaned you hasn't. Although, to be fair, I wasn't really expecting him. Who did I loan you? I can't even think now.
Yeah, that the
center. Oh, you're the defender.
Yeah.
Oh, he has. Oh, he's up to 80. When did that happen? It must have happened today. Oh, yesterday, maybe.
There you go.
Nice. No, I didn't expect him to, because when like you go through players, like he's not exactly shown himself to be a massive progressor, and it's been a couple of seasons since he had anything, so I wasn't really expecting anything. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's fun. It feels like progression this season. I know that one of the shows you did last week or the week before, I'm sort of really out of order on the shows that I'm listening to for everybody at the moment. You were talking about sort of progression being bad this season, and I think I think your conclusion was, and I think the correct conclusion, we just sort of reached a point where most of the guys have gone past their prime age, and so like the ones where you are going to get progression are the newer guys that you've got into your agency from pack drops or reward packs and stuff like that. And obviously they're a much smaller percentage, but like progression, I think for this season for me overall has been sort of relatively slow, but still it's like 40% of the gallery, still 40% of the agency, sorry, wrong product, has got sort of decent progression so far this season. And not by decent, I mean progression. So, but yeah, it's just sort of a slow burn, isn't it? And you just hope that a few of the guys that you get in, like the early guys you get in, or the new guys you get in, start to get a bit of progression. But so with the Patient Saints, where are we? So many bloody tabs open now. Patient Saints, so we play in the cup tomorrow, Patient Saints, and then when's our next game? It's towards the end of the season, isn't it? Yeah, third last game. So yeah, that should be fun. So it's one of those where you ideally want to finish sort of like third or second, and then maybe not go up, so you maximize the MFL. But
yeah.
Then moving on to your OG team, Empire FC, based in New York, where of course you are based as well, or you're New York.
Yes.
You're north.
I don't
New York,
live in New York now, but I was like born and raised in Manhattan.
You're north, aren't you now?
Yes.
Yeah. What do they call that? No, New York State? No.
New England.
New England. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, this team is, I would say, overperforming. I think I was projected 6th based on ratings and stuff. And the plan for this team was like stay in stone, at least for a season, and then figure things out. And now that I'm sitting 3rd, and obviously 4th and 5th are 1 and 2 points behind. But now it's like, oh, could I get promoted? And the irony is that I have an Iron team that I'm like, I don't have nearly enough players for Iron. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I should I should try to get promoted to Iron. And so I assume that if it happens, which I think it's realistically kind of a long shot, but if it happens, I'm just kind of in the same spot as I was this season, where I don't have enough players. And so maybe I go out and try to improve.
Do you, like, when you are looking sort of towards next season, like if these things, like if Empire did get promoted, do you like, you don't seem to, like me, not go out and loan in too many players. You prefer to sort of use your own players if possible. Is that something you think you could change if you do get a team that gets promoted and it's a little bit too high for the caliber of players you have in your agency?
It's funny because I actually have used loans quite a bit for this team over the last few seasons. But this year I didn't, or this season I didn't. And then so I don't know. I will probably have to, but I'll see. I'm not sure. Hopefully it's a problem I have.
Yeah, no, it would be nice, wouldn't it? But Before we move on, we've got a few more people in the chat. We've got Andy Official. Hello, sir. How are you? Got Sid's dropped in. We've got Ryan Walter. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to everybody else. And then, obviously Sid, I just said as well. Bob Flynn, good morning, sir. How are you? I'm sorry that you got a meeting this evening. Just can it off. Just mute them and come on stream with us instead. But that would be far more fun. But hopefully we'll see you later. And you are still rocking it. I watched your game last night. It's absolutely brilliant that you're top of the league. Just praying that you don't get kicked in the arse with a bit of a progression later on in this, with variance later on in the season. But so Empire FC, what about like the other teams that you've got? Which are the ones that you really sort of like focus in on, or do you sort of like actively sort of rooting for all of them, or are there certain teams which are just sort of there to sort of take on the copious amounts of players that you build up in your agency?
No, I definitely want all of them to do well. I will say that that Empire 9 team, I have a player that has started to show some progression. It's the other way. They're nice. He's gotten like a +2 in the last
Empire. Which one? Sorry.
9. So it's one more. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, that one. Yeah.
I
thought you said Ryan. I assume you've got
sorry.
some tissue up your nose.
So I'm not going to compete for promotion here, and so it's kind of how much at this point I should be focusing on progression of my players, but I'm just not sure I have the wherewithal to play like a lower rated player just because he's progressing, even though I should do that.
It's funny, isn't it? Because last season I had the Matadors last season. I wanted to get them relegated to Spark, and whatever I did, I kept on picking up points. And eventually, I just thought, "Oh, sod this! I may as well try and stay up," and ended up staying up. And what I noticed from looking at other ice leagues is like some leagues are just ridiculously hard. Like there's 4 or 5 teams that have got like solid rare teams, and then others you could probably get away with. Like I think I run some limited guys in ice and still grind out results. It really depends on the league. But yeah, that's a nice sort of that's some decent sort of progression.
Yeah, that guy's the best. If you click on this is like what I wish all of my players were like. Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I like those guys where you get sort of a decent amount every season and you can sort of bank on it.
Yeah. So the league that they're in, James, who was on When Dirk this week, I haven't actually listened to it, but James is leading that league and absolutely destroyed me every time we played last season, and has destroyed me every time we played this season. And the worst part is that Empire, I think it was Empire FC, we're in the same cup group. Like, so another one of my teams had to play Jambos Abroad, and they destroyed me as well. Like, if there's someone who just, like owns me in MFL, it's James. And so I keep saying, I hope he gets promoted so that I don't have to deal with him anymore.
Yeah, you do. Over time, you did definitely build up some sort of like bogey teams. Like there's one Wolftown Finest in Monkey Magic's league, and I believe that's Duff. And he just, for whatever reason, they just seem to do really well against me every time.
Yeah, I just there's no matter what I do, and apparently no matter what club I throw at him, he's going to beat me. So yeah, please, I probably am hoping for his promotion more than he is.
Weirdly, he's not like got a particularly overpowered team either, so he's doing well.
Yep. Yeah, very good manager.
So what
he's
about
crazy? I don't know if you've listened to the When Dirk show, but he watches every single Diamond game. He's got stats on every single game. He's a maniac. He was messaging me last week about when I think it was when I was moaning about indirect free kicks dying again, and he was telling me stats about what's happening in Diamond games that he'd been watching every game, and there was like more goals for penalties than corners and stuff like that. It's like, you're a maniac. Loves it. Absolutely loves it.
Nice. I look forward to that, but I can't remember which episode I was listening to Yorkshire TNXP boys yesterday when I went out, but who I think were giving a little bit of Kev Hurd hate, but I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, the perv.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Empire Rioja.
Yeah, this is like an ice team I bought before last season, like season 9, and it's with Jack Daniels, who you guys may know. He's a member of my Patreon, but he had all of these players. He must have had like 50 players available for loan before the season, and I was like, you're struggling to get these guys on loan. I just bought an ice team. Do you want to fill the whole team with your guys? I gave him, we kind of agreed on a 50-50 MFL split, but I was like, I proposed 50-50. And then I was like, you should really take 100, like for one season, take it all. And he was like, don't worry about it. We'll do 50-50. And so last season, every player on the team was his. And this season I started to buy some more players. And so it's kind of like I'm weaning myself off of Jack's players here. But yeah, so it's kind of like a combo team, and then Ryan Walter has a player on there as well, and it's kind of like we're kind of performing pretty well. I think we're so this is the team that's playing Matadors, and I don't know, I'm surprised by where we are because I thought we wouldn't be quite this good, but it's been like a decent season so far, and the progression's been okay, except for Ryan's player. I feel really bad because we you pulled up this game. So this was a rotation game, which is why I play. I don't normally.
You rotated in the cup.
We'll see. We'll see what we do. But yeah, so I don't have so that Jonathan Sharp, who's the left wing back, is a player I've had for a while, and I never play wing backs, and so every so often I give him a game because he's had good progression, and so like if you look at his progression chart, all of the progression from the beginning until he stopped, he played either left back or left mid, like never played left wing back because I don't play 5 in the back. And then I started playing him in his natural position and the progression just died.
So weird.
I don't know if that says more about 5 in the back or progression or what, but
yeah, even he doesn't like 5 at the back, and he's
exactly. Yeah. So but yeah, I normally don't play. So this is the team that has that oh no, that's not this one. Yeah, so my original plan was to play 5 in the back, and then I just couldn't get myself to do it.
Sorry, which team was that? Is
that one? Yeah, the one you were showing. Sorry, that Rioja.
Yeah.
But the Rioja one was kind of a funny story. That was like the 7th club that I was going to buy and finally bought it. And like every other club that I was like, oh, I'm going to buy this one. I like the location. I made the logo. I made the name. I did everything. And then I went to buy it and it was gone. And I was just like, oh. And so I'm hoping with club offers, I'll actually buy clubs before I start designing all of the stuff for it.
Have you got any plans for buying more clubs for next season?
So I didn't, but it feels like every other day I get a message from Trust the Process who's like, hey, look, I just bought this stone club for $3. And I'm like, what? Like, obviously it's not quite that low, but I don't know what the number is in terms of like too many clubs for me, but I know I'm not there yet. And so, yeah, I'm always kind of on the lookout. I think I'll probably try to buy in the ice stone range. I'm not really interested in Flint and Spark. Flint particularly just because the MFL is so low, even though I have enough players that I could probably fill a Flint team, but it's like a Flint team that will stay in Flint forever. And that I hate to say this, but like once you start competing in stone and iron, going down to starting new in Flint doesn't feel as fun anymore.
Yeah, I've got a trial club that I set up this season just to sort of stick some common players in, and I really don't sort of pay much attention to it at all. But I noticed yesterday, I think we got a win, but it was only because somebody hadn't set a team, and it feels like a bit of a sort of a muddy sort of like mess at the bottom that I don't necessarily really want to get involved in. Spark is when it starts to get more interesting, doesn't it? And obviously, the higher up the better for MFL and stuff like that. How much did you bring in last season? Can you remember?
It's whatever. Let's see. I think about 30,000, and I didn't spend any of it.
You're going to save it up? Are you going to try and get rare pack or something this season then? Or?
I don't know. The jump to rare packs is just so high. So it depends. I don't know. I don't think I will. I'm guessing I just kind of go back to my plan of trying to get more more uncommon players just in the agency and hope that they progress enough. But yeah, like going from 17,000 for the 70 to 74 uncommon rewards to 37,000, like 20,000 MFL jump, like that's a lot for me. And so, and that's for the lowest rare players. And so using that much MFL on like a single player doesn't feel as fun to me.
Have you worked out how much you might get MFL wise this season?
I think it was around 50,000 maybe with the,
a bit of an increase.
Yeah. And so maybe I'll do kind of a mass pack opening stream at that point.
Yeah, they're always fun, aren't they? When you sort of rip open pack, as long as you get something decent. But
yeah, exactly.
Right. I'll briefly go through my teams. I won't bother with that one. The Berbers, they are in the promotion hunts. They've got a decent team, but not a particularly overpowered team. They were predicted, I think, like second or third, so they're about where they should be. They got knocked out in the cup, I believe. That was one of the ones that got knocked out in the cup. Yeah, they got knocked out in the cup. So only leaves 2 teams left in the cup, as I spoke about earlier. The Matadors, team that tried to get relegated last season, and this season I think they've got 2 rare players in there, one that's had quite a bit of progression, but it's not particularly overpowered like ice team, and they're doing okay. For them, it was just about staying in ice and hopefully a decent cup run, which obviously could come to an end tomorrow, but praying someone rotates. Well, normally when people rotate against me, that's when they win. But then the Vikings, who my perennial cup team, the one that I sort of build 2 target cups, they got promoted from ice to stone last season. It's not particularly strong stone side, I don't believe. Had a bit of progression, but yeah, it's not massively overpowered stone side. For them, I'd like to ideally sort of finish like 3rd or something like that in the table, and if they could go on a cup run. But we've got a tough game tomorrow against Big Mr. K, Keto Forest. So that should be fun anyway. So I'd really like to get one of the teams through. Like all of my big teams going out in the cup in the last 16 is painful. I don't believe, it's only 11,000 MFL to the winner of this one if I get there. But it's going to be fun anyway. It's nice having a little bit of action in there. Moving on to Monkey Thunder, we spoke about them earlier. They are in the same league. They are my worst sort of higher up team, and I really just want them to stay in Iron. Currently in 9th and out of the cup now as well. They went out the other day. So, yeah, they've had a bit of progression, which has probably helped to keep them sort of where they are. But there's some decent teams in this league, including Daegu Orchard. But Monkey Kings, again, spoke about them earlier. Top of the league. I don't know whether I could do with another bronze team. I really haven't got the players for it, and it would be another relegation like threatened team. And that's the trouble, isn't it? When you get your teams like promoted and you don't necessarily have the players. I don't like loaning in too many players. I'd rather just loan in a few on the top team. So we'll have to see where we go with them. I don't know why. Just all season we've been doing well. So I've been near the top or top of the league. And I've just always thought that it's going to fall apart at some stage. Monkey Fire, which is my worst bronze side, they were predicted to get relegated, and they're currently 5th, and they've been higher than that. But as you can see, we're on a bit of an awful run, losing 3 league games, 1 draw, and getting knocked out the cup. Although that was a bit unlucky getting knocked out the cup. So yeah, form has gone to pot a little bit. But again, if they can just stay up, I will be more than happy. For a bronze side, I think the highest rated player, we've got a few 84s, but it's no legendaries. That's not a particularly strong bronze side. Funky Monkey, got a fairly best team I managed to put together for a bronze for my second team. For quite a few, whatever. Got a few legendaries in there now. A couple of guys that have progressed to legendary this season. I think. Who's progressed? Yeah, he went up yesterday again, so he's +2. Got another one there. Of course, he's gone up. So yeah, it's been fairly decent sort of for them. I don't know. I mean, if they go up to silver, it definitely wouldn't be a decent side. But we've got a few games. Like tonight, we play Calver's Lichstad side. Then we've got Sparta Sahara. Then we play top of the league, and I believe. No, we haven't got to play the second place team again. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a fun battle. I'd love to. I think I'd like to get them promoted, but one of those where if they got promoted, I don't know what would happen. And then my main team, Monkey Magic, stronger this season than they've ever been. Definitely not strongest in the league. I think we all predicted at the start of season 4th or 5th, and we've just been stringing results together. Yesterday against Kodap's Condors. He was leading until sort of fairly late on the game. In fact, I think he messaged me. I haven't replied yet. But and then I got 2 late goals. Yeah, things just sort of seemed to be going all right for them, although it was absolutely gutting getting knocked out in the cup against a team where, like, they were a decent team, like all the decent teams at that level. But I really felt like the match should have gone my way, and my main striker just couldn't hit the back of the net. But I don't know where these guys will end up. And again, if they get promoted, then I haven't really got the players for gold. So, what do you do? What do you think on that sort of front, Andrew? When you're sort of like trying to sort of get your team promoted, do you, is there ever a thought that, maybe tank a couple of games, or is it always try and win all of the games?
I have a really hard time not putting out the strongest team I can for every game. And even if it's like, I've had enough results against like bottom of the table, like disappointing results because of rotation, that I just try to put my best team out as much as I can. And obviously with fatigue, sometimes you have to play the schedule game a little bit, but I just feel like we're here to win, right? I feel like that's something you said for a year, for a long time, of just, we're not here to just play, we're here to win. And so you do that with your best team, no?
Yeah. What about you, Hoodwink?
I've literally never put in a team thinking, I hope I lose this. Never. I couldn't do it. I'd rather go up and just struggle and get loans in than be like, better not win this game. I couldn't imagine.
Mind you, like every season I say, I don't want to get that team relegated, and they get promoted, and then you do all right in the division, and then sort of everything's okay. But I've only got a couple of teams that are sort of struggling this season, and I'm okay with that. But I just, like, as soon as I think last season I got 320,000 MFL, which is the highest by quite a distance that I've ever had before. This season, I reckon it's going to be a bit lower because I haven't had sort of the decent long cup runs on the bigger teams. But you sort of miss it. Like, Andrew, you were saying earlier about sort of the rare pack jump, is quite high. And I think you do need teams sort of higher up the pyramid to get enough MFL to get the rare players. But then to get up the pyramid, you need decent players as well. Yeah. So it's, sometimes you sort of, you have to choose like a hill to stand on. But yeah, it's quite tough. But it's going to, whatever, it's going to be a fun end to the season anyway. I've got quite a few people in there, like, who have we got? We've got that's Blades. We've got Rory, who I beat a couple of days ago. Did the double over Rory. Got Big Wilbert, who we had on the show last week, who I've run the backup, like talking about not wanting to lose games. I run my backups against him because he's got such a great team. I just think there's no way I can beat him. So I put the backups in for that game, and I've beat him twice now. So I'm sure he won't mind. He's got so many teams. He probably doesn't even notice the blip on the thing. We've got Code Up in there. So yeah, it is fun when you get sort of higher up and there's quite a few people that you sort of know or who are active in the community that you sort of speak to and stuff like that. And then Wolftown Finest, who just always seem to get decent results against me, which is owned by Duff. But moving on anyway, like, we're in December. I thought it'd be nice to have a little bit of a speculate about where we will be. If we're sitting here in December 2026, what would MFL look like? I think we've got a few hints from some of the stuff, like some of the streams that Matt has been on recently. He spoke about some of the things they're looking to do. But like this year, I'm trying to think back because it's been just over a year now since I started playing the game. And when I started, the engine was already there. You could already see the little dots running around. It was start of season 1, but the game has progressed massively. The engine, especially, like the realism in that first season, like players just charged up to the byline and then like went out for a corner came in, you either scored or you didn't, and the game has evolved massively from there. in terms of number of users. It obviously exploded thanks to the Laird boom and Net boom and all of the other booms that we've had this year in sort of, the start of the year. But it's been sort of like a crazy year. Hoodwink, did you think that the game would be where it is now, or did you think that anything would be different from where it is now, looking back to last year?
A year ago, well, when you joined, it was, even our Discord was quite, not quiet, but it was like the same group of people. Like the MFL channels were busy, but it was the same group of people, like maybe 5 to 10 of us, maybe. And we'd have so much time that would be like, we'd have maybe 1 or 2 clubs each, and we'd be watching every game. We'd put we'd created the MFL in play channel, and we'd be loading each other's games up because you just had plenty of time. Whereas now, it's like, Discord's got, I think, 365 members or something like that. And obviously they didn't all play MFL and they're all not active. But the MFL channels are busy now. Everyone's got, not everyone, but most people have like multiple clubs. I never thought I've got 5 clubs really. I never thought I'd get to 5 clubs. And there's people with like 10, 20 clubs and that kind of thing. And then just so many different managers that it's just such a huge difference, and like a huge success really for them, because it was kind of a game that would just play a handful of us. Obviously there was loads of other managers, but to get like even our wee community to be so active, then like Laird's Discord's got, the guys like Kobe, your assistant manager Toby, and folk that are so engaged in it that probably hadn't heard of the game a year ago. So I don't know if I expected it, but I love the game and I loved it like since day one. But like to get I suppose the boom really, that kind of helped with like they got good people on board that are passionate about the game, and people trust like Laird and Nep and Work the Space and that kind of people that are known in Web3 or gaming, that kind of thing. So I probably didn't expect it to be so huge, not huge, but so growing so quickly, to be honest. Even though the potential was there.
On socials, it just went sort of crazy, didn't it? So was it April, May time when it maybe peaked? When it felt like sort of everybody had joined that was talking about it, whether they joined from sort of FIFA circles through sort of Nep or So Rare through Laird or Quinny, it just felt like everybody's sort of, was come on board. And then inevitably, as So Rare came back, a few people sort of moved back to sort of playing So Rare, because you do sort of tend to get that apathy towards the end of the season with So Rare. Although this season it'll be interesting to see what happens with the World Cup. I guess it depends on what the team roll out for it. But and I expect certain people will come back when it sort of starts to quieten down from So Rare. But it was a crazy sort of cycle, wasn't it? When it just felt like everybody was sort of joining, everybody was sort of playing the game, and everybody's Discords were sort of starting to pop off. Andrew, when you sort of like signed up, I remember, I think was it was it the one Can-Net persuaded me to play MFL? I think when you were recording that, I felt like you'd already decided you were going to play because you already had a club. But did you think you'd get as into it and become sort of such a part of your life as it has done? Because obviously you play quite a few different games. Obviously So Rare, is I guess the mainstay. You appear in the main So Rare channel with a show every week, and sort of, did you think MFL would become a bigger part of your life?
So I definitely did not have a club when Nep and I spoke.
Oh,
so
didn't you? I apologize.
not.
I thought you did.
No, I may have had it 5 minutes after we spoke, but I think you're right that I went into that stream knowing I was probably going to sign up. I absolutely did not envision liking it as much as I do. And it's not that I thought it was a bad product, but I had never played a football manager game or management type game. And the thing that I kind of admit a lot with when it comes to my own football knowledge is that I'm just not great tactics. And with fantasy sports, it doesn't really matter. And so setting up the correct formation against another formation, or using specific tactics to attack certain weaknesses of an opponent, is just not my strong suit. And when I started playing MFL, I was like, I think I'm going to really struggle to enjoy this, because I don't necessarily, I'm just not good at this. And I think honestly, like, the progression part kept me invested in it, just from an interest standpoint of like, oh, that's kind of fun that we have this side part of the game where maybe you're not getting the results, but if these players are getting better, and theoretically if they get better, then you become more competitive. And I obviously got very interested in tactics, and I guess I just didn't give myself any credit of being able to learn certain things about tactics over time. And so I think once I really dove into it, I started having a ton of fun. And the big thing, and the reason why I wanted to talk to Nep about it, is at the beginning, is that I knew that he started doing the content on his own, and Nep has companies all over the world that want him to talk about their product and try our product and do some videos on it. And he doesn't just take any product and do it. And I know that his first MFL videos were genuine, and it's what he had a lot of fun talking about it, and he thought other people would have fun, and that's why he started making videos on it. And I don't know why I finally watched one, because I had seen plenty of other people talk about MFL, and it was just like, all right, yeah, like, I'd see people tweeting about, oh, this player, we won here. And I was just like, all right, I'm not really into this, like, fun. But then watching him play, it was like, oh, he's really enjoying this. I guess I'll give it a try. And within days, you're just like, this is awesome. This is a lot of fun. And I think I finished that first season with 3 clubs, and I was just like, I want more. And I think I'm at, I can't remember if I'm at 8 or 9 clubs now. And I don't think I'm going to trust the process this one at some point, but I get it. I get why somebody would want, dozens of clubs and keep going. Obviously, money is an object, so it's not like I can just go out and buy everything, but I get it. And the game really clicked for me. And in the same way, I wanted to talk about it too. I like making content about things that I enjoy. And so talking about MFL is super easy and enjoyable. And if me talking about it makes the experience for other people better, then yeah, I'll talk about it all day.
And I do love, I love listening to your shows anyway. You know that I've been listening to you since, I don't even know when now. It must be well over a decade, when you were doing sort of stuff with RotoWire. But it's great listening to them. I haven't really enjoyed your shows with Ryan that you've done recently. I think you two sort of play off each other quite well when you're doing sort of the shows. Very much like you and Harry do when you do shows together as well. But it's really good sort of. I'm just looking at the clubs that you bought, and it's quite fun that you've got the 9th ever club that was created within your agency. Did you see that and actively want to go out and get a really low mint club, or was that just something that happened by chance?
So I'm pretty sure I saw that on the secondary market, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And someone, now I want to double check who owned the club before me, because I had a name in my head, and then all of a sudden I'm like, actually, if it's not them, then I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm not even sure how to find it at this point. But somebody else bought it. And actually, I take that back. I believe somebody else got their girlfriend to buy it. And I don't know why they felt that was necessary, but they almost like rebranded it as like top 10 or, first 10 club. And I was like, man, that's cool. And I remember Nep has some round number club, 1,000, 5,000, whatever it is. I don't remember. And Nep obviously is notorious for refusing to buy a secondary market club, a dirty club, as he likes to call them. And for a while, I was just like, yeah, he's right. And then I saw that top 10, first 10 club, and I was like, that's cool. That's part of like MFL history. And I said that as somebody who had been involved in MFL for 2 months, but I wanted to be kind of hold a piece of that history. And I don't know if low serial number clubs will ever be a thing. I know the number one is available on the market for $100,000, which is a little more than I would spend, particularly because it's now in Flint. But it's a Rosario, Argentina club. I think Scrub owns it. I think that's who it was. But it, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
I think I have seen that one pop up, and I thought, why has someone listed that for 100,000? I just never paid any attention to it. Yeah, number one. Oh, that's funny.
Number one, yeah. And I had actually mentioned it on a stream with Trust the Process once, and he actually reached out asking, like, how much do you really want for that club? And he was like, it's nowhere where I would pay. So, which, like, hey, if you have the number one, you can put the price to whatever you want. There's only one number one club, although there's also only one 3,246. But yeah, so that's why I bought that club. I thought I'm going to be here for a while, and I'd like to own a little piece of the history of the platform. And then I had horrible results last season, escaped relegation on the last day, and I was like, I can't have this club get relegated on my watch. And so part of the hope this season is I can keep it up and then maybe compete a little more next season.
And so when you joined, like, obviously, the game hadn't really exploded, although it was around that time that it was all starting to kick off. Obviously, you said that Nep had started doing stuff, and Quinny had obviously been doing stuff. I think Quinny was the person that reminded me to go and have a look at sort of MFL. He came up on one of his deadline streams, and I thought, oh yeah, MFL, I remember. And then went and looked at that, asked people on our Discord, and then just signed up, and that it went crazy from there. But did you see the traction in the videos you were doing immediately?
So I think that time when I joined and then a bunch of other people joined, part of it was and I've talked about this in kind of different spots, but it was a very slow Sorare time. And I know that there are like a lot of, I assume most of the people who signed up through my link were Sorare players. And so it was basically, March, April of last year at the end of the European season. It was the first season of Sorare doing their in-season model. And by the end of the season, it's just kind of boring, like every fantasy game is, seasonal fantasy game. And so there were kind of an equal number of people who saw MFL and were like, oh, that's something different. It's Web3. And also the people who are like, oh, I can make money doing this. I can buy players and sell players. I can get clubs promoted and sell the clubs. And so I would say the people who focused on that don't play anymore, which I think is fine. Like, I think if you join MFL only thinking about the financial aspect of, I'd like to make more money than I spend in here, it's just not as enjoyable of a process. It takes a little longer than, you're not going to win $1,000 in a weekend randomly like you can on Sorare. And so it's more of a slow process that involves more fun, like fun playing the game. And that was something that I really focused on with MFL and the way that I thought of it. Like I didn't join MFL with the idea of being able to make money like I try to do on Sorare. I was going to say like I do, but my results this year have thrown a wrench in that one. But the more I played, the more I was like, I'm doing this for fun. And yes, you can make money doing this, but I'm not in a position to show you how to do that because I'm not playing that way. I really have a lot of fun playing in different divisions and figuring out which players fit the best and which formations fit my players and which tactics fit the players in that form. And there's just a fun, it's a game to me. And while the other ones are games, it's like they're games with money. And this one, obviously you have to buy all of the stuff that you have in the game, but I've never bought a player or a club on MFL and thought, what will he be worth later? And I think for me personally, that's the healthiest way I can play this game and why I continue to play it. And thankfully, I'm in a position where I can afford to buy a couple clubs and not have that be a strain on anything. And again, it leads to me being able to make content and make the experience better for other people. And like coming on this show right now is part of the fun of MFL for me. And it it just contributes to all of it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think in terms of sort of like looking at the value of players, I stopped doing that on So Rare a while ago as well, with the expectation, obviously So Rare is different these days, and you buy players that think can help your teams rather than like, oh, this player could be worth a lot more later on.
Right.
But and I think like MFL for me, exactly the same, has always been like that. And there are probably times if I was smarter man, then I would have sold some of the players for the absurd offers I was getting. I remember getting an offer for over $150 for an uncommon player only like a season or two ago, and like because he was one of the first cards that I've ever packed on MFL, I just didn't really want to sell him and ended up keeping him. And like maybe some people, I think someone asked me actually not so long ago, do you regret that? And I don't at all, because he's one of the first cards that I packed and he's sort of part of my agency, and I don't think I'd just rather keep him within the agency. But yeah, for me it's more of like a competitive, like hope and pray that you get a couple of guys that go on progression heaters like that, just something that's why I try and get some uncommons in every season, stick a few in dev jail, and just pray some of the rare guys go through a bit of progression as well. But and I think that RNG element, I've spoken about it before, that that's sort of the hook that keeps you coming back every day to look for progression, or the results that either go your way or don't go your way and stuff like that. What about you?
I feel like the players, we do it for MFL, we do it for So Rare, where we talk about Ultimate Team people who play Ultimate Team. We're just like, you're just throwing money away. You're just like buying stuff and it resets every year. But everybody keeps buying. Sorry, that's my alarm to register for Holiday Heroes. But that's kind of how I feel on MFL. I put money in and I don't have an expectation of getting any of it out. It's just allowing me to keep playing. And so it's funny. There was I got an offer for that player that we showed before, the Christophe Chevalier, who's had I think he's plus 20 in his career. And I got an unsolicited offer for him the other day. And I was just like, I actually, speaking of Toby before, I sent the screenshot to Toby and I'm like, I'm actually offended that somebody thinks that I'm going to sell this guy. So I just rejected it, said I wasn't interested in selling. I got another offer right after that was double the price. And I was like, the problem is, I think he's on my Empire 9 team. So the problem is that I would sell him to then buy players that would be like him. And I was like, but I already have him. I have that player that who knows where he's going to be. And so it's like, I don't want to have to keep searching for these guys if I finally found one. And I think that just what you were saying, if I was doing this for money, I surely should sell him, because I think I got him. I don't remember what kind of pack I got him in, but he was some sort of pack player, and never did I expect him to go as high as he has. And yet, from a accounting standpoint, I should sell. Let me see here. He started as a 52 rated 20-year-old, and now he's a 72 rated 25-year-old. And it's like, these are the guys you want to find. And why would you get rid of it once you find one?
Yeah, I don't think there's any amount of money. Like, you're right. If you were playing sort of smarter, to sort of make money, maybe you would sell him. But even then, you just want to find out. You want him in your agency to see how high you can go.
Right.
Yeah, registration's open. I will register one of my ICE teams in there. They won't go through, but it's an extra game to play, isn't it? It's a bit of fun.
Yeah. Now we'll play each other, and I'll lose to you here, and we'll just have to go back again in 12 hours or whatever it is.
All right, I'll leave you two to chat for just seconds. All right, I just need to.
Hoodwink, do you sell players much?
Nah, not much. I did sell. No, I never sold actually. I stupidly bought a $49.99 pack during the pack drop. Even though I know it's very silly, but I ended up with like a young defender, 21-year-old defender, I think, like 73 rated maybe, which is good. Mm-hmm. But then he's like 5'8", can't pass, 0 pace. And I thought, right, I'm obviously going to sell him. And I thought, that's like a 21-year-old 73 rated defender. I'll get a decent amount for him. But he just didn't sell. So I did list him. I got an offer the day for $15. No, come on, I'd listed them at like 50, thinking maybe I can get my money back.
Yeah.
I didn't really sell many, because even with positions that I didn't really play, like wing backs and centre forwards and stuff like that, I just loan them rather than selling them. I rarely sell anyone good. I think probably the only one that I can remember that was really worthwhile selling is I packed a 16-year-old. I think he was like 67 rated Cam.
Wow.
And that was during the boom. So I sold him for like $125
$2 million.
or something
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like I think it was like 125, and I was like, that's like I'd be stupid to say no. So I sold him. That was a while ago. I can't really remember selling anyone like worthwhile. Like as I say, I just loan them. Like I'd rather, because I never know. Like I think this season, which you might be upset about, I'm looking at trying to work on in fact, I am doing it like during the stream as well. I've been testing a 4-3-3, but I've never played centre mids and I've never played wingers. So
Oh, don't say it.
Maybe Chapman will be in one of my teams next season, but I'm not sure. But the testing's going really well so far. I don't have the depth to do that, but that's why I keep them, because if I was going to sell them, then I'd just never be changing formations, or it'd be a bit of a stress trying to change anything. So I'd rather keep them, loan them, and then have the options at the start of every season, start fresh, and have options of what I'm going to use. But nah, team never sell.
Yeah, the only time I've ever gotten rid of a player was a trade that I did with Trust the Process, where I don't remember how I got this rare player. Maybe it was a pack upgrade. I don't even remember, to be honest. But he reached out to me and was like, "That's a player that I'd be interested in. Would you be willing to trade him for a couple like lower rated players to like start to fill your agency out?" And I was like, "Yeah, that actually made a lot of sense to me, because I wasn't going to play. I think he was 76 rated at the time, and I was only in Spark, and I was like, I can't. And sure, I could have loaned him out. I might have loaned him out for one season, but it just made sense to kind of like include those guys. And so that's the only time I've ever gotten rid of a player on MFL, was just a player trade. But it kind of like what you were saying, the way that I think of MFL now is, if I get some sort of like much better player, I'm just like, oh, this helps my teams now. Like I don't have any legendaries. I'm not going to play one in stone. But if I can loan that guy out, I just I acquire players and with no intention of getting rid of them ever.
Yeah, I remember early on that you like I think you must have packed maybe like a rare card or something like that, one of your early sort of packs, and maybe one of your starter packs, and he was too good for your teams and you were loaning him out at the start. Whereas I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I would have said, "Oh, just play him in ice," or whatever division you were in. And you were very much sort of focused on the progression and stuff like that. And, I guess it's worked out well, because you got an extra money in those early seasons from loaning sort of the higher end players out.
Yeah.
But eventually you sort of, Engelhart, or
nailed it.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Well,
he was doing really well, wasn't he, early on? And then obviously his progression has slowed away. But early on, you loaned him out as well. But he's been mainstay of one of your teams, hasn't he?
He tier broke to a rare yesterday.
Did he?
Finally did. Yeah. Big guy. It's funny. He's a cam, and I pretty much only I play formations to play him. That he's like the most important player in my agency. And I had packed another guy later on named John Byrne. He was like a 5'2" Australian cam with like 30 physical. And I was like, this guy's never going to play. And his progression is absolutely taken off. And I was like, he is taking all of Engelhart's progression. I think he's 79 rated now. Like, he keeps going. I have them on a team together now. But I was just like, every time he goes up, it's just like, you're not, it's not supposed to be you. I actually want to look it up now, because so he was 35 physical, and he's had plus 12 since I got him. He's 28 now, but he's a cam, and he's gotten plus 22 defending. And I was just like, so he was a 24 defense, 35 physical, which with a cam, you don't necessarily need that. But it was just like the physical one. Speaking of Toby before, Toby's a big physical stan. And he was like, physical is the most underappreciated part of MFL, because if you just look, nobody really knows what it means. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you win more duels. And they're like, but we don't really know what it means. But he's like, but if you look, high physical players perform better. So just if you're looking at the market and somebody's, a 38 physical, he's like, you know what we know what shooting looks like. We know what passing looks like. We know what pace looks like. We know what dribbling looks like. And then physical, you're just kind of like, I don't know. But if it was unimportant, it wouldn't be in the game. And so I will look at like the recent players, like recently listed players, which is actually how I got most of my players from the last offseason. But if they have like a low physical, I don't even look at them anymore.
Yeah, no, I think my view on physical is exactly the same. Like, and I think it's probably even more important now, like, for defenders, physical rating now helps them win duels against strikers. Therefore, your striker needs to have a high physical as well. So he can sort of beat one-on-ones and get through as well, and winning duels. And, even if you removed all of that, a high physical rating means you can play the players more.
Yes.
So they lose less fitness. So yeah, I completely agree with Toby there that, it's one of those stats that you are completely right. People look at it and think, yeah, it would be nice to have a high one, but who cares? But you wait, if you try and use a guy that's got really low physical, I think I've got one that's got like 20 or something like that. Like he plays 2 games, need to rest him for ages. And, his ratings aren't great, but he's got a decent rating overall. So you sort of use him anywhere, and it's sort of like a conundrum about what to do with him. So that's the kind of guy I should probably sell. But anyway.
So I think the other thing that goes into that is I'm convinced that high physical players will progress better because they don't lose fatigue as quickly. You can play them more. And we know that playing more means you're more likely to get progression. And so, yeah, if you have to rest a guy every 2 games, he's just not going to play enough over the course of a season in order to get as much progression as possible. And so it's just a constant turn on physical. And I will say that that's one of the big changes I made this season is I basically am playing everyone one more game than I was previously in terms of where their fatigue is. I used to sit guys at 95, 94, because I was like, oh, I have a backup at 99. Surely that's better, even though all of his ratings are worse. And so I will play guys who are, at 94%, and then I'll rest them. And I feel like that extra game has helped. I mean, it's purely circumstantial, but I feel like progression has been better this season than last season. And maybe I'm just getting it on the players I want the progression on, as opposed to the players I don't. But I do feel like I'm playing guys more and I'm getting better progression. So whether right or wrong, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it.
No, that's fair enough. What about, let's talk about sort of where the product could be this time next year. I think Matt said that obviously the site update, the site redesign, I think from what Matt has said, I don't know whether anyone from MFL is in the stream, but they were looking towards the end of Q1 next year, obviously redesigning every single page. And we've seen in sort of, the drops that the training notes that they do, the dev update that they do every Friday, a few sort of like sneak peeks of what it could look like, and redesigning the whole site is, a massive undertaking. And I think we can be certain that that's going to drop at some point. And, with that, we'll get more sort of data on history and stuff like that people have been looking out for. Like, it's quite difficult now at the moment to go in there, just to see who previously owned clubs or like historic data for your players and stuff like that, and it'd be fun to be able to see sort of historic stats for your clubs all in one place as well. And I'm sure that's something that will be coming. So that's, I think we can lock in that will come at some point during the year. I think that Matt sort of alluded that 3D engine is unlikely, but 2.5D engine where you can see shadows of players and things like that. Well, that would be fun. I don't think it would have a massive impact on the game, but it would definitely be fun from an aesthetic point of view. Do you think that that's something that might come, Hoodwink? Is that something that you would be bothered about coming?
Maybe. I don't know, even like 3D, I wouldn't really be too bothered about. But I think things like, see, sometimes when you score a goal and you're like, oh, that was a great volley. I'd love to be able to see if like someone's actually headed the ball or like a volley. But when it's like a wee dot, it's hard to kind of get that kind of realism. So maybe something they could add to that. And
I
something
quite like that though. You just see like the ball's a little bit behind the player, and they sort of like, hook it into the net. And in your mind, you think, "Oh, that must be an overhead kick" and stuff like that.
you think it's a worldie, but it's
Exactly,
literally just a dot the ball into the net, and it doesn't. Sometimes I'll score them and I'll be like, well, "That was a great volley." So something like that could. What was I going to say there? So I did notice I scored a goal today with my goat Sean Carr, and it looked like when I was testing the 4-3-3, and he came in like for the side, and it looked like he dribbled past about 3 players. Like I didn't really notice dribbling in the match engine, because you see them go through, you can see them go past people and stuff like that, but it doesn't really look like dribbling. That's probably the first time where I've thought, oh, he's just dribbled past 3 players into the box and scored there. I'll maybe try and screen grab it later. But stuff like that adds to the realism. So any wee kind of things like that, and
Was that on the new engine? Did you say?
that was a new one. So I've been testing that. I'll screen grab it later and I'll show you and see if I'm talking nonsense. But it looked like a dribble and a shot, and I thought that's like it's a proper goal.
I remember Bruce speaking about it on Yorkshire TNXP this week, that he'd been testing the new engine, and he, like, the variety of goals has gone up. And I played around with it. I think I played sort of like 7 or 8 games back to back just to see what it was like and whether the current tactics I use were doing okay. And I think I did pretty well against sort of a slightly higher rated team. But the main thing I did notice was the variety of goals. Like there was one where my centre forward picked it up in a centre circle, laid it off to someone, played it back, laid it off to another person, played it back, and he literally sort of ran through like a little sort of ticky-taka, and so then put it in the corner of the net. And you just don't see those sort of goals at the moment. And there was still some goals of those like little scuzzy crosses from the side and the player knocks it in the net, but they're part of the game, and they're part of football anyway. So I just think it looks like, my early impressions for the new engine are that it's a step up from that sort of point of view.
I think that's probably more important than improving the aesthetics or whatever you call it. Is actually just making sure that it's kind of like the game looks like it's good, it's improving, rather than just making it look better. And like I scored another goal. It was a counter attack, and again, I didn't really score kind of many like that. But it was my CDM kind of got the ball at the defence. Then it was like two of their centre backs. Then my guy, like, it was like a crossfield pass right up the wing. Then Levod, who's on my right wing, took a few steps and like a 20-yarder into the top corner, and thought, like, that's not a goal that you see in like season 9 and 10. So things like that, I think, is more important to improve. Just make sure that's always improving, which they do most seasons, to be fair, rather than just kind of looking better.
What else would you like to see in the game across the course of the next year? Like, for me, I sort of thought about this yesterday when I was thinking about the idea, and it's difficult to imagine. Like, I'm absolutely sure that Matt, Lucas, and the team have got like a long list of things that they would like to do for the game, and often the best things that have happened in the sort of the last year have sort of caught us out by surprise, like the community competition they did. Which one was that? Wasn't the Halloween one? What was it? The other one called Goal Rush. Yeah, that. I mean,
rapid play as well.
Rapid play, yeah. I mean, the Goal Rush one was just incredible. Like, everybody's Discords were like, everybody was engaged. It felt like a long 48 hours. And obviously Jimbo and the Wender guys got pipped at the post by those pesky French. But yeah, I mean, those sort of things were just incredible last year. And it'd be interesting to see what the team can put out for the next year. Like the World Cup, obviously, the biggest event in football that goes on, every 4 years, and it'll be interesting to see what they put out for that. Have you any thoughts that they might, like, I remember when we started playing, like, one of the common hashtags you'd see was when internationals. Do you think that internationals could come?
I think so. And I think they'll need to make sure Jimbo's banned for managing them, obviously, but When we had that was probably before you joined, I think.
Yeah, it
when they
was.
had the internationals, and he'll never live it down, to be honest. Like, he's never getting the England manager's job again. But that was quite good fun. So, like, you put in some. I remember I didn't quite understand. I was quite new, so I didn't quite understand it. Then I seen like I had a quick read. Then I put in like some MF. So you kind of like a bet, really, or a stake. And I put someone Scotland because I'm Scottish. So I thought, right, I'll just put it in Scotland. Then it was like, oh no, it's like you're putting a share of the team basically, and you need them to be good and win. So then I was like, all right, France, I'll go for France. So I put some money in there, and I can't remember if you maybe got you got to get an input in the decisions and stuff like that. Or did you put in wee groups maybe, in Discord? But that was fun. So they done something similar. They chose the squad and they had like a wee international tournament. So I'd imagine they probably will. Although it just depends on timing, because they'll like MFL's not going to stop. So we could be mid season, and it would. I suppose it would probably time. There was probably you've got the gap between seasons and stuff like that. So I'm sure they will, though. They'll have something planned, surely.
Nice. Jimbo, would you manage
Sorry,
the
Jimbo.
English team again? It was the English team that you managed, wasn't it? Yeah.
Managed is mismanaged, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. Jimbo taking shots here.
Just trying to have a look and see. I wonder if you can pull up the thing. I've never really looked, but I'm getting a network error at the moment trying to do it anyway. But
That's what he gets for calling me tight on the wind dirt. Try to say I'm tight with my loans. Disgrace.
What about you, Andrew? Is there anything that in the game that you think would sort of like level it up? Like if we were sitting here this time next year, this would be the thing that we're focusing on.
So just to touch on the 3D engine kind of topic, that they're kind of in a tough spot because everybody's been talking about a 3D engine. We know that like Football Manager has more of like a simulation like that. And it has to look great. Like it can't be like and not that I would ever expect them to kind of like half-ass a 3D engine, but it has to be really good. And I think it takes a ton of resources for that to happen, which is why I don't think it's kind of at the top of their priority right now. But speaking of the 3D engine, when we see goals getting scored now and we're like, oh, that must be a worldie. Do you guys ever check to see how the goal was scored? Because you can see it on the shot map.
When it's a good goal, when it looks like in my mind and I'm watching it and I think, my God, that looks like a worldie, then I'll check. Yeah, especially if it's like, because in my mind, a goal was scored the other day and I thought that has to be an overhead kick. The ball's behind him, it went in the net. And I looked and it was a header. And I was like, oh, it's a little bit depressing. But
well, it's funny you said it because I had one like a long ball volley basically the other day, and I was like, that's a Van Persie like World Cup like flying header over, and I was like, and then I looked and I was like, oh, he just used his left foot. So I guess that doesn't that wasn't it either. But yeah, I just assume that every other goal I score in the box is a bicycle. And I'm happy to decide that that's what it is. And so even though my strikers are like 5'2", so I'm like, it can't be a header. So obviously it has to be a bicycle. But I think what from a game perspective, like the actual like watching matches that's going to be the biggest thing that changes everything for people, because you can have all these different tournaments, but ultimately it's all just doing what we do slightly differently. Whereas if they can make the match experience just more immersive, like stadiums, and they kind of did it now, they have the players walk out, and Jimbo was saying on When Dirk that they had tested, all of them shaking hands and stuff, but didn't quite look right. But stuff like that I think the match, you don't want matches to have to last 30 minutes, but if you wanted it to, and you can get really immersive in the stadium, and, as you go up the pyramid, the stadiums get bigger and more people go. And I think that's the stuff that I'm kind of interested in, and a couple people have mentioned it. I think it was actually Andy when he was on When Dirk talked about like training facilities or academies and like being able to like see training pitches and get more in. it's almost like we see more about training without actually knowing still how we get more progression from players. But I think the biggest change that can happen to the platform realistically is just a more immersive match experience, and that's really hard. And so I don't envy them of having to do that. Thankfully, I think the community understands that it's really hard, and so I don't think anybody's like pitchforks out like we need it now. But I do think that's what takes MFL like fully to like a whole nother level that we don't see now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, and I think that I think that we just want an engine that sort of works well, and I think that like next season engine, early impressions it does work well, and I think like the cartoon cards, I was sort of on the fence over it whether it would go to. I quite like the dots on the screen. I quite like sort of the imagination I need to put into how a player's played and stuff like that. And obviously, with the shot data and heat maps, we get more information now than we've ever had before to try and work out how like things happened when you see them on the screen anyway. But it is quite fun. Jimbo sent me a link to the European Championships 2024. This is the final here. This is what the engine, or this is what the screen looked like when they were doing it at the time. Go back. So yeah, all of the international teams, a lot of them, and choose the MFL up there. So I imagine that a lot of people were sharing the MFL, like, you bought shares in the different teams. And, if you've been on Floaty, you may have seen like people list those cards occasionally or list the tokens up there. So I don't know how much money. I imagine England had a fairly decent side, finished bottom of the group. Credit to Jimbo, he did get a draw. He got 1 point. But I'm sure everybody was hoping that they would be the team that goes all of the way. It's interesting looking at some of the players, because a lot of the players are still sort of, in the game and still have sort of like, not all of them have retired yet. And it was so long ago, wasn't it? But I guess it's only since season 1. But yeah.
The one thing that I was going to look up, you were talking about how they're kind of rebuilding the whole website to look differently. I went back in the dev updates on Discord. So we saw kind of like the design that they are working on for the new, I don't know what page this is, but down the side are all the options of what you can click on. And it says your clubs, home, my agency, my clubs. So I assume that's like your players and your clubs, what we have now, marketplace and store, scouting center, competitions, and development center. And then they have one that says MFL World. What do you think that means?
Scrolling up to see it now.
No, what one of the things I'd put on my wee list for MFL 2027 is I'd put things like, well, MFL World could describe it. Things like newspaper articles and stuff like that. So when someone goes through a Lego to an ultimate, they get a wee like newspaper article saying, they're on fire and training and stuff like that. Or there's a big transfer. There's a splash of the week that actually goes into the newspaper article, which is on site and it's live and updates with like anything like big news in the MFL world.
Yeah.
That gets
could be
updated
part of
like
the MFL
newspaper.
world, couldn't it? Like the daily MFL world, or updates on players' progression. They could generate AI videos of players that are like tier broken or massive progressors and stuff like that. That would be fun.
And like Timmy Vaughan's been in my agency for like 10 seasons and he's going to get a testimonial and stuff like that. So he gets a wee bit in the article. Someone retires, they get a wee bit like showing their medals that they've won and stuff like that, just as a wee like thank you for the club and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I think that would be quite cool. Just like
that's a big part of Football Manager, isn't it? I know from watching a few of Work the Spaces Football Manager streams that like a lot of people have been complaining that it feels like this version of Football Manager is more about the match day experience rather than all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But it's the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and like the lore of Football Manager and your clubs and players and news which is what actually a lot of people like. And that's something that we haven't really got on MFL. Obviously, we have progression, but it doesn't really get highlighted unless they're like an absolute, worldy special player like Beckman's and stuff like that, where they do the videos. So yeah, maybe MFL World, maybe like more stuff around the, the stuff that's happening in the whole of the pyramid, like little newspaper articles or videos will get put in there. That would be quite fun.
You know what else would be cool? See the day that we get, like, I was thinking about this other day actually when I was watching Amreezy's stream, and he was talking about, he's like, I want my team to get relegated. And I thought, like, if that was like, I mean, he's the manager of that team saying, I want my club to get relegated, right? If that was like the Rangers manager saying, I want to get relegated, like, real fans of that club are going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So, like, when do we have real fans? Like my Edinburgh Castle team, is anyone ever going to be like, I support Edinburgh Castle in the metaverse, and like look like a crazy person by saying that? And then, we've loads of people have spoken about like merch and stuff like that for your team. But who would anyone, could I be walking about Livingston and I see someone with my Livingston Village MFC shirt and I'm like, oh, that's my club, I'm the manager of that club, like, and people saying I want to get them relegated, they're like, no, this manager needs to have a word with the manager. Like, even if it's like a decade away, like, do you think there'll ever be, like, if I've still got Livingston in 10 years and like their badge is the Mark's school, I've kind of taken their logo and put it as a football logo. So like it's a recognizable logo in Livingston as well. Like in 10 years time, for example, do you think anyone will ever support?
So if you buy merch for Mark for Christmas from Livingston, he's going to say, Dad, why have you got me more school uniform?
Exactly. wear it to sports day and stuff like that. And people will be like, what's that?
I've just realised
5-year-old supporting my club.
I didn't realise we've been going on quite this long. And I know, Hoodwink, you'll have to go and pick the wee lad up in a minute, won't you?
Aye, I'll go get him some merch.
But so we'll sort of tie it up a little. We'll finish up sort of relatively soon or now. Is there anything before we get out of here, Andrew, that anything else that you would like to see in the game, or anything else you think you could see in the game then before we sort of get out of here?
Just more promotions for me.
More progression.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I think because I feel like I don't have a history of playing Football Manager or even like Ultimate Team. I don't know, not that I don't know what the possibilities are, but I think other people are way more capable of knowing what a platform like this can turn into, or what people kind of hope to see, than, because I think the product, right, not that I think it's like done, but I think it's a great product already. And so just anything that adds to the experience is a positive for me.
Nice. What about you, Hoodwink?
What was the question?
Anything else that we haven't already spoken about?
Sorry, anything else, right? Nah, just how long? This time next week will the season be finished? Good luck in the end of the season in the cups. It's usually a Thursday or a Friday it finishes, eh?
Yeah,
Good luck
it's all
for the last week of the
this season, isn't it? Christmas, but yeah. Right, that is everything from us this week. Well, today, no, not even today. This lunchtime, I'll be back this evening with Kev and a few other Diamond managers to talk tactics. But thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us. I know that you're on dad duty first thing in the morning, so I appreciate you managed to shuffle those kids off to school and come and join us for a little while. Hoodwink, always great to see you, mate. And I don't believe, because I'm going to hopefully be at my mum's next week, that we'll be doing anything next week until maybe the weekend after. But we have obviously got the Christmas stream coming up, this community stream on Sunday. So drop in tonight, see us. Drop in tomorrow night, because when Dirk's going to be on. Drop in on Sunday, and I'm sure Andrew's got stuff as well that he's going to be doing, so drop in on that as well. So plenty of content, but we'll be back next week. And with that, I'd like to say happy Christmas and a goodbye.